issues must get a public health response. We continue to see politicians using this as a political issue when we need to make sure that we prioritize the well-being and the health of our students and staff in CPS. And we have schools like in Pilsen in the 25th ward, where we have still vaccination rates that don't even reach 50%, 30% in some cases. How is it possible that we're still insisting on lifting a mandate when we know that we're putting the staff and the students at risk? It is unconscionable that Mayor Lightfoot has continued to push these policies knowing the risk involved. We continue to see the increase in cases. 12% as of last week, there was another increase in cases. We must minimize risk, and we ought to make sure that we put the health and the well-being of the students. In terms of budgets, there is, when we see the city of Chicago having not only in the federal funding allocations for the city, $2 billion that have been allocated for emergency purposes, for health, mental health services. Where has the money gone? That is the question to Mayor Lightfoot. We continue to see now a proposal even to have budget cuts in Orozco Academy, just to give an example, a 25% cut. Despite the issues that we see in terms of mental health, we have a crisis, a mental health crisis for the young people. Mayor Lightfoot, when are you going to listen to the issues on the ground? We have tragedies, we have shootings every day, every week, and we know that we can prevent them. When we invest in mental health, when we invest in the well-being and the services that we need in our schools. Our young people are suffering. And Mayor Lightfoot is stand deaf, continues to politicize the issue, continue to play politics, continue to campaign instead of putting the issues of our communities first. We have almost $1.8 billion in addition to that for CPS. But yet, some of our schools are receiving budget cuts because of enrollment projections. Those formulas of how we fund our schools are wrong. We need to make sure that we talk about equity, then deliver equity. Deliver equity for our families, for our staffing, for our communities. They're leaving our communities to bleed. That's what we're doing. They're letting our communities here out in the cold to bleed. And I want to be unequivocal about that. When we have almost $4 billion for our communities, we shouldn't be begging for mental health services. Right now in Loretto Hospital, the last list, 2,000 young people who are in line to receive a basic service. Our families cannot get basic services, and we have the funding. That's tragic. That is tragic. Our kids are getting killed every day, kids. We are going to continue to see the trends of the last 2 years if Mayor Lightfoot doesn't listen and puts the money where we need it. Not with these corrupt companies like Amarak and other countries continue to get millionaire contracts. And our families are starving. Our families cannot even pay basic bills. Yet companies like People's Gas are profiting in record numbers. Yep. That's the lack of accountability we have in the city of Chicago. The same old status quo, the same old that we're seeing. But we have an urgent crisis at hand. We need to make sure that we stop politicizing public health matters and let's put the funding where it belongs. Brevemente en español. El tema del mandato de máscaras es un tema de salud pública. Lamentablemente hemos visto cómo los políticos continúan politizando un tema de salud pública. Tenemos escuelas donde la vacunación no llega ni al 35% en algunas de nuestras escuelas. ¿Cómo podemos dejar que no se utilicen las máscaras? Sabiendo que eso pone en riesgo a nuestras familias, a nuestro personal, a nuestros estudiantes. No hay conciencia cuando se toman esas decisiones. Cuando tenemos $2 billones del gobierno federal en la ciudad y otros casi $2 billones en CPS, ¿cómo es posible que vemos recortes en nuestras escuelas? Recortes cuando se necesita inversión para salud mental. Tenemos una crisis seria de salud mental nacional que afecta a nuestros jóvenes. Vemos lo que está pasando con la violencia. Cada semana, día a día. Lamentablemente vemos todavía las mismas decisiones, la misma corrupción de siempre. Ese dinero que debe ir a los servicios de nuestra comunidad van a engordar las billeteras de compañías como Amarak, que no hacen ni siquiera su trabajo cumplidamente. Vemos como nuestra gente no puede ni siquiera pagar para el gas, para la luz, y no hay dinero para eso. Pero para engollar las billeteras de desarrolladores y corporaciones, para eso siempre hay dinero. Este es un llamado urgente para que se prioricen las necesidades de nuestras escuelas. No deben existir recortes cuando hay una crisis de salud mental tan seria. Necesitamos servicios, inversión en nuestras escuelas. Necesitamos que ese dinero venga a nuestras escuelas y a nuestra comunidad. Nuestras comunidades están desangrándose con la violencia, con la pandemia y la apatía de nuestras autoridades. Mayor Lightfoot, la alcaldía debe escuchar las necesidades de nuestras comunidades. No más recortes, no más corrupción. Necesitamos invertir en salud pública y hacer de esto unas políticas de salud pública. Basta de la politiquería. Muchas gracias.
Gracias, Byron. Byron.
We have one more speaker.
You know
Our
Billy
speaker,
Shea?
his name is Mr. Billy Shea Brooks. He's the former deputy minister of the Illinois Black Panther Party. Thank you.
Right on. The problem that being manifested right now is nothing new to the city of Chicago when it comes to working with oppressed communities, and particularly the black and brown communities. And what they're doing now in the Chicago public school system is criminal. Criminal in the sense that they're killing people. They're spending money on freaking gas cards to enhance the electability of a mayor that's burned up. So I'm here today to support the People's Response Network, to encourage people throughout the city of Chicago to put demands on the elected officials across this city so that they can have an impact on the lives of our school children. I have grandchildren, nieces and nephews who attend Chicago public schools. I want them to have a future. Their futures are already messed up in the sense that they're not getting an adequate education. Chicago public school system historically has been a culprit in the miseducation of black and brown students. And it's time for that to end. It's time for people to understand that working together as a collective, we can have an impact. We need to have an impact because our future resides in our youth. Thank you.
Woo! Questions, anybody?
Any additional questions for our speakers?
We just want to say we hope that all you fine people of the press will not just listen to our words, but really take action as people who are really conscious. You know, to literally find out where is your money? Where's all of our money going to? It's not going to directly help the people. It's going to directly help private corporations who have gotten the majority of the money. Those include both for-profit, larger corporations, but lots of nonprofits in Chicago, in every neighborhood, who instead of supporting this kind of struggle, the kind of struggle that Billy and Che and I worked on in 1969 going forward in the original Rainbow Coalition, instead of doing that, they're getting their share of the pie and they're shutting their mouth. That's exactly what's going on that's hurting this struggle. Of the 2,000 people who worked in the Chicago Department of Health when I left in 1991, the vast majority were African American Latinos, including the leadership that Mayor Washington brought aboard. I want you to look at who's in leadership now, not just of the Chicago Department of Public Health, but every other place, and who's working there. What neighborhoods do they come from? Well, most of them don't even come from Chicago because they're outside contractors. We had an event, and I'll end with this, with the alderman, Byron Cicho Lopez, in Dvorak Park Fieldhouse, which as far as we understand is the oldest field house in the city, in December. In walked in 18 people with official Illinois Emergency Management Administration jackets. the official flak jackets of the equivalent of FEMA. How many of those 18 people worked for the state of Illinois? 0. How many of them were private contractors? All 18. How many of them lived in the state of Illinois? 0. That's what's going on. From Biden to Pritzker to Lightfoot. And we're not going to stand for it anymore. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm telling you, you got the new jacket. And it matches the hat. That's the other thing.
I didn't want to get rain. I can't take it.
I know. But thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
My word.